It's time to let go. Release the burdens brought on by life when you simply want to be free. You're a blinding beam of light, and you deserve to be free. You're always welcome here. It's time to be quite honest.
Hello. Welcome to aquietplace.net. Here with me is David Drapela, and I'm Sarah Bush. And today we're going to have a conversation around the COVID-19. That whole feeling of how do we need to really deal with the fear and the self-doubt that exists and ways that we can move forward and let that go. So, knowing you, David, the way I do, the question I'm going to ask you that I really want to have a conversation with is that there's no question that there's fear. And in that fear is also the whole conversation around what am I going to do tomorrow? Where am I going to be financially? Where am I going to be in my job? What's going to happen tomorrow? Is really the elevation of fear. But more importantly, it creates that self-doubt of what am I going to do? And so I'd like to have a discussion about how you perceive all this. And let's have a discussion about ways that we can shift that vibration, elevate from fear to faith, fear to belief, and spiritually what we have to put in place to move forward.
Well, you asked me 27 questions. That's a lot of questions. Let's take fear to start with, okay? What's happening now? Isn't this beautiful, what's happening? The COVID-19, I think, wow, what a blessing. People say, wow, what are you talking about? People are dying. Yep, people dying every day. Where have in my 82 years, I've never seen the world shut down without firing a shot. Now, is the fear in the COVID-19? I don't think so. The fear is stuck in our own self. COVID-19 just happened to bring it out. It could be a number of thousands of other things that brings fear out. So the fear is inside of you. COVID-19 is not the cause of your fear. It's a symptom of your fear, not the cause of your fear. So we have to think about that. If COVID's, in all the years that we've been on this earth, we have never seen anything that would shut down the whole world. So one of the things that I would always ask is this. Of all the people, do not get stuck in the fear. It's like being in the ocean. If I'm swimming in the ocean, I can never see it. I have to elevate myself away from the ocean to be able to look and see where I'm at. Okay? So fear covers you up and it shuts you down in many different ways. Fear creates stress, creates doubt. Look at all this stuff that it does. And you are doing this to your own self. How do you not do this to your own self? Well, the Master Jesus told us, he said, be in this world but not of it. Is anybody paying attention to that? I mean, hello out there. We're coming in on a frequency, be in this world, but not of it. You have to step back away from the world as you see it, as you perceive it. Many years ago, I wrote that the world is an illusion. We're on a trip. We're on a trip to Earth. And we have We are part of everything that has been and everything that will be. But let's go back to fear. Fear is about waking up. How do you wake up? Be in this world, but not of it. How do you go out of this world? Meditating, breathing,
Praying.
being quiet. And tomorrow, let me tell you, Sarah, you don't have tomorrow. You have any idea what's going to happen tomorrow?
No.
Thank you. And all you people out there who are listening, y'all don't have any idea what's going to happen tomorrow.
But we never did.
It never did. But we have an illusion that we live in. And the illusion is that we know. The question, the real thing is, we don't know. Isn't that beautiful? Because when you don't know, you have to depend on something greater than you to allow it to happen. The God that lives within us, the divine spirit that lives within us. And the darkness that is on this earth today. Wow. You know, in a way, I think it's great. Because only when I have darkness can I understand how important the light is.
Right.
You know? And I think about the earth today, and I think about the people. And we have all these atomic energies and machine guns and tanks. None of that will cure darkness. The only thing that will cure darkness is living in the light. That is, you have to come out. First of all, we have to realize that we are truly, most of us, are living, we're not living, we're dead, we're asleep. We have a veil in front of us. This earth is incredibly beautiful. Instead of you worrying about your job tomorrow, go outside and look at a cloud and follow it. And think about this. If today is my last day on this planet, I don't have tomorrow. Look at your children. Hold your children. Look at the cloud. They won't be here tomorrow because you're leaving. This is why I wrote, one must die to their self every day to really live. Don't just say the words. Look at yourself. You're lying in bed. This is your last breath. You're out of here. You're ready to make your transition. Now as you lay there, you think, wow, where did it all go? The bird becomes more precious to you, and your children become more precious, and your partners become more precious. To be able to hold their face, to be able to hug them, to be able to smell the flower. Oh my God, these are the gifts that you've been given on earth. Why? Why can all of us not lift the veil from our eyes and start to see what cannot be seen? This, one of the things I wrote years ago, Father, let me see what cannot be seen. Let me know what cannot be known. Let me feel what cannot be felt. Let me love what cannot be loved. So the darkness that surrounds us, we have to love the darkness, not the people who create the darkness. You have to go through the darkness, because when you're through the darkness, you find the light. And the light is where it's at. There were 7 years in my life after my wife committed suicide and died in my arms that my voices said to me, now, David, what you have to do is stay focused on the light. And we don't care how big the light is. That's not important. If the light is only as big as a pinhead, never take your eyes off of the light. Because the darkness you can fall into, and you might not be able to get out of it during this lifetime. You might have to make this trip a few more times. Focus on the light. And there were times in my life after She died, and I lost everything I had materially, but I never lost the light. And sometimes in my darkness, I could only see a pinhead of light. And I remember what they told me. Focus on the light, David. Focus on the light, and the darkness will soon disappear. So I say to everybody, we are light people. We are not Chinese. We are not Mexicans. We are not white people. We are not Afro-Americans. We are the people of Earth, and Earth belongs to us, and we're getting ready to reclaim it. And the way we can reclaim it is by raising your vibration up into the love and compassion and reaching out and helping, not just with your hands, but it's so important. Remember what Jesus said, so as a man thinketh, so is he. Can please get a grip on what this is. We are pure energy. The higher we think in love and compassion and beauty, and see the beauty that we have on this place called earth, which is truly heaven to me. The only hell on this earth is what man has created. The earth itself is magnificent. As I travel the world, it's unbelievable. So every one of you, if you will think during the day, when you see the person in front of you who cuts in front of you and you're not happy with that and you call him something that is not a good name, you're doing that to yourself. Because whatever you see in another person is in you, because we're all connected together. So when you call him a SOB, you're going like, every cell in your body is going, well, you're an SOB. Oh my God, I don't want to do that. I want to send him love. I don't have to like what he did. I don't like the darkness, what it's doing on this earth. But that doesn't mean that I cannot send it love. Because God created everything. The divine energy created everything that is. Okay, that's enough for me right now. So,
No, I think what you're saying, David, is exactly what we need to hear. And I want to reiterate again, just from my standpoint, that there's a part of me that's really grateful this is going on. For me, the way I see it is the opportunity for us to truly stop, to truly embrace the things that matter. It's not about the furniture you have in your house or the car you have in the driveway or the amount of money you have in the bank. It's what is it that you have that is golden and it comes from the heart. And, I posted something on Facebook last week that said, there's so many people that are griping about having cabin fever with their significant other or their children. And the real gift is they get to touch each other. They get to be around each other. They get to laugh. They get to cry. They get to show emotion. And when you live alone, you don't get any of that. And the one thing that keeps the immune system healthy, the vibration of the body, the cells of the body elevated, is touch. And so what's happening right now, and a couple of weeks ago when this all happened, everybody went into panic mode because you were automatically told that you couldn't leave. And so there's this whole attitude about martial law. And then there's this place of going, okay, let's calm down just a little bit. And it's really not as important to have 400 rolls of toilet paper and yeast and all these things that nobody can find. And now all of a sudden what I'm seeing is this place of really feeling alone, even if you're alone. But then there are people that live in the same household that really never kind of communicated anyway, and they're having to find their way. And I truly believe on a whole nother level, God is saying to all of us that the vibration that we've been living, that is through the television and through the internet and through the phone, is an unhealthy illusion, as you said, and it's not real. It's not
real.
living in the real world. It's not the touch. It's not the intimacy. It's not the laughter. It's not the walking and really paying attention to the nature around you.
Right.
And so we got disconnected from the heart. It's kind of like heart map. The heart and the brain are not in partnership. And so we're working out of the fear because we've made fear believe that it belongs to something, either death or drama or trauma or danger, when in fact it's just something that we've put on that word, when in fact, for me, it's, do you live in fear or do you live in faith? Well, for me, people go, are you nervous about what's going on? I go, no. And they go, why? And I said, because this is an opportunity for all of us to recalibrate our GPS system from the heart, to just be present to the light and not connected and surrounded and suffering in the darkness. And I just see so much of that. And it's just like turning on a light switch. You can turn it off and you can have it look dark, or you can turn it on and it can be in the light. That's how easy it is to shift our own internal vibrations if we come from that place of believing that we're of value, that we belong, that we are all interconnected. And there's no question, although you saw me when we first brought this up earlier about you have to love the darkness, you have to love all that. And I was like, ugh. And I can remember once upon a time having a situation with IRS with a friend of mine, and somebody said, you cannot embrace the goodness that's going to come as an outcome if you're going to hate what you're having to go through.
Very wise.
And so I just went, okay, I can embrace this. They are good people. And as it came out, it was a wonderful opportunity to get things settled in a very professional manner, a very caring manner, believe it or not. And I walked away with a different respect. That doesn't mean that every now and then it just gives me the willies. But, the truth is, I had a wonderful experience because I let go of the fear and what I made it to believe versus what it was.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, one of the first things I did, I had a partner in one of my hotels, and he was a POW. And he was in Hanoi Hilton. His name was Ken Cordier.
That's the one you had me listen to.
That's the one I had you listen to. And if any of you want to see my friend Ken, you can go on Ken Cordier YouTube and watch him.
It was very awe-inspiring.
And I called him and I said, Ken, I haven't talked to you in a long time, but I want to tell you how much I love you. How did you spend 6.5 years tapping on walls, not being able to touch anybody, being in isolation, away from the world that you knew, and you survived? And here we are, 30 days, and we have alcoholics who are becoming more alcoholic. We have people who are committing suicide. We have depression. And yet what an inspiration you are to the world. And I said, I just wanted to tell you how much I love you for setting an example for the whole world to be able to look at, And so that this was one of the things that I did after this whole thing got set up the way it is. So, but fear is a funny thing. I want you to think about this, Sarah. And I'd like for all of you people who are listening, what is it that I fear? Let's think about that. What is it that I fear? Do I fear not having a job tomorrow? Is that really my fear? Do I fear for my children? And if I fear for my children, what is it that I fear for my children? What is this fear? Because I want you to dig down inside of yourself. And if you dig deep enough, you will find that most of our fear is the fear of death itself.
But that's the one thing we're promised.
I know that. I know. Well, hello.
I know.
Wake
but that's
up,
the
girl.
one thing we're promised in our life, is that we're going to die.
Hey, I'm not dying. I'm making a transition. We are eternal beings. But what I'm saying to you, most people hate dying. They're afraid. Just think about it. I don't want it to get the coronavirus. Do I want to not get the coronavirus because I'm not going to see my children? No, how you not going to see your children? The only way you're not going to see your children is if you die. Oh, really? Am I fearful of the job? Is it going to be here tomorrow? What kind of fear is that? I don't know whether my job, of course I never had a job, but I don't know whether your job is going to be here tomorrow, and you don't know whether your job is going to be here tomorrow if this never happened.
That's exactly right.
You're not
There was no guarantee.
There's no guarantee. Isn't this beautiful?
And yet we believed there was.
Oh my God. This is why we are part of this divine energy. We are part of everything that exists in the universe. But I want you to think about, again, dig down inside where that fear. Most of that fear is about death. Because if I die, I'm not going to see my children. If I die, I'm not going to be here.
I don't know if it's just death or if it's loss.
Loss of what?
Of whatever.
Whatever. What loss of what?
Yeah. But I mean, I know that in talking to others, you know, I fear that I'm going to lose my house. I'm fearful that I'm going to lose my car. And I go, well, let me ask you a question. Do you have good health? Well, yeah, I think so, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't catch the COVID. And I went, is that really what you believe? Is that really what you believe? Is that the fear of what you're going to lose? Do you have family? Yes. Some don't, but they have friends. They have connections. Even if it's peers, they have connections. And they've lost that right now. And so I see that not so much as death, but just the feeling of loss.
Yeah. But those are all illusions.
There's no question about that. But we still have to identify that for people.
Right.
Okay, we still have to identify that.
You cannot cure a sore unless you understand the source of the sore. I can heal a sore on my arm, and it comes back, and it comes back, and maybe it comes back again. We humans do not want to heal ourselves. We are afraid because we have been basically brainwashed most of our life by our society, by our culture, by our religions, by our everything. You didn't have any problems, Sarah, when you were in your mama. Do you have any problems? Did you worry about anything?
Don't believe I did.
Well, isn't that something? So you didn't worry about a mortgage payment on your house when you were in your stomach of your mama, were you?
Nope.
Really?
But she might have.
Well, that's okay.
But that still gets transferred cellularly.
Yeah, I might get a little deflection in there, but I don't know what the hell a mortgage is, and I don't care.
But you
I
still
care
feel
about
the energy.
Of course I feel the energy.
Yeah, you still get the energy in there.
And that's okay. But we have to lose those. This is the veil that has to come up on us. The thinking that we live in a secure world. Give me a break. Drive on I-35 in Austin, Texas, or go to Manila and drive over there and think you're safe on the road with 45 million people running around in a car. There's a safety is life. We have to know that life is an illusion. The world lives in us. We do not live in the world. And I think
But
the
that's
near
really
death,
hard. That's hard for people to grasp, David.
yes, it is.
I can hear what you say, and I understand what you say. But to the general population, they don't get that.
The general population needs to listen to what Jesus said, what Buddha said, what Krishna said, and what some of the people who have had near-death experiences have had. We people who have died, some of us, have come back to tell you about the fears that y'all have, to raise your vibrations. We meet once a month with people who have died, and they're scared to tell anybody what they saw because they're afraid they're going to get locked up in Hooterville. Those people are coming back. Listen to what these people say. They have been on to the other side. I checked out here for 11 years ago. I'm happy to come back. I was at a near-death meeting, and the lady said, "Why'd you come back? Why did you come back, David, when it was incredible? Why did you come back?" I said, I said, "I came back so I could talk to you." How's that? Real simple. So that you can talk to somebody else to help raise this vibration that we have to have raised to bring this darkness away from us. And it will be a great trip. I believe personally that this energy have been here thousands of years ago. And this energy is now coming to a point where the water has been there long enough. I don't want to be a frog in the water. I want myself out of the darn water. I want to see it boil so I can learn how to turn it off. Turn it off. So that boiling is the fear, the negative energy that we have. And those who cannot create, we can bring the darkness up if every one of us, if you just think about what I'm saying, look at each other in love. Look at the person that you despise and tell him, "I love you. I don't love your action." What did Jesus say? Love the person, not the action that the person takes.
Right.
Do we listen to any of this that we go to church and the preachers and everybody teaches to you? You know what? I haven't watched TV, I think, in maybe 15 years, except Andy Griffin. I like him. Him and Barney are funny, so I like to watch him. But you want to find the truth? Turn the TV off. Turn the radio off. Turn the
Phone
internet off. And go inside yourself and ask your Father, "Father, show me the truth. Show me the truth so that I know it." It's buried inside of each one of y'all. And all you have to do is be quiet and go inside. And you're not going to hear it if you're listening with your ears, because the ears are a very dumb set of things that sit on the side of your head. It is in the quietness that you will find the light, and you will find the answers. That's what I believe.
All you have to do is ask.
Yeah. This is so
told
foreign.
to us. It's told to us so many times in our lifetime.
Yeah.
I was listening to somebody on Sunday, and he was giving a sermon, and I thought, I think that things are transforming themselves as to how people connect, how people listen, how people are doing things differently right now that really have the humanness be more real than just the hierarchy of Christianity or ministers or rabbis or whatever being up here and the people down here. That's the general
Right.
structure of a church. And I just find these folks that are up against the microphone and they're giving their sermon, but it's not a sermon. It's truly a message from God, and it's a message from the heart, and it's reaching in, not just reaching out. And I just find that maybe that's part of what all this is about also, is that the millennials, they're not interested in traditional churches. They're interested in the relationship and the communication around their spiritual journey or their pilgrimage, to really reach amongst each other and be connected. And it's different. It's different than you and I growing up and the traditional church.
Not so different to me. This is the thing is, when I was 4 years old and my mother tell me I'm going to go to hell for not going to church, I'm going like, no, Mama, there ain't no hell. The hell is here on, you people make the hell. I don't have to go to church. God lives within inside of me. He said to me, he don't punish me. If there's any punishment in your life, David, you're going to do it to yourself. I'm not going to do it because I love you. And of course, once again, that's why they took me down to get my head examined, because it was an interesting life as a child. It was interesting because I've always had a direction that came to me, the voice that every one of us have inside, if we'll shut up and listen.
I agree.
Wow.
But I will be the first person to say, for me, growing up in church, I learned so much about me. I didn't learn so much about the Bible as much as my responsibility, I think, to serve. I had great teachers. And then I went through a period of time where, right before I had my son, where I was trying to be a great wife and running a business and doing all that. You get caught up. And even though I was going to church, I don't know that I was hearing it the same way until my son was born. And then there was just this different transformative occurrence within me that had me be so much more connected to the silence and to the gifts of the heart, to where I hear God differently for me. And so when I hear different passages or different things from the Bible, I can hear it differently. And sometimes they have powerful, powerful messages for me. And other times it's like, it's going to come to you, but not right this moment. But you heard it, and you're experiencing it, but it's not going to be applicable until another moment in time.
That is where consciousness, when you were 20 years old and you read something, most of the time, when you read it when you're 50 years old, it's a total different thing to you. And this is consciousness. I always say, if you want to find God, the first thing you got to do is get rid of him. You have to because you have been, all of us have been raised in what's called a filtered reality. God, I have a special relationship with God. Oh, How can you have a special relationship with God? I have to think about that. If you think about this, if I say the word eternal, do you know that there's not a human being on the face of this planet that can understand eternity? Because the mind is time predicent. Now, you're going to tell me you have a personal relationship with God when you cannot, there's no human on the earth that can tell me what a rose smells like. Really? I know God, but I don't know how to explain the rose. I'm at a loss. I don't know what it smells like. Consciousness is where we have to go. For me, anything that you put a name on, you lose the essence of what it is, because you now have a filtered reality of what that is in your life. And I've told this story so many times, Sarah. The little bird flies in, and the father and the little boy is there, and the little boy says to the father, "Look, look, look, look." And the father looks and he says, "Oh, that's a sparrow." So a few days later, they're sitting there again, and another little bird flies in. And the father says to the boy, "Look, look, look." And the boy looks at his father and says, "Oh, Dad, that's just a sparrow." Think about that. Once we put a name, once that father put a name to that bird, how do we know it's a bird? Because that's one of our things that we use in our language. This is a miracle that was given to us. We never see that miracle again, because the only thing we see is a sparrow. And you and I, are all miracles on this earth. We're not what we look like. Every sparrow there is different. Every butterfly is different. Every leaf on the tree, on the same tree, is different. That's us. Think about that. So when we name something, when we label it, we lose the essence of what it is. I cannot know God. God knows me because he lives within me.
Right.
I honor whatever that is.
Absolutely.
That is higher than me, because I know I'm part of it. And I love being part of it, because it teaches me to shut up and listen. So I tell you where you need to go, David. And every time I think I know where to go, then I get in trouble. But as long as I listen, then I'm okay. So.
But I also think it's healthy to have conversations with him.
Oh, yeah, well, why not? But you're not having conversation. Sarah, we're not having conversations with God, okay? We're having conversations with something that is without our definition. Whatever you are incredible love. I know that in my life. I can't speak for anybody else, but for my whole life, this is nothing but love. And you know what? You cannot know love. We put a name on love. You cannot know love. If you think God, like most of us think, God is love, if you cannot know God, then you cannot know love. These are just words. They're just sparrows. We get caught up into them. The wonder of what it is to be without everything and to flow with it, you know? Wow. I get excited about it, you know? They probably need to lock me up too, but.
No. It's just, it's a different way of looking at it to a lot of people, David, because of the expansiveness of your conversation. That's different from the way most people are raised. And so you're asking for a consciousness that's unfamiliar to them. And I just want to make sure that we clear that up, that to the listening audience, they may struggle with some of this, and yet at the same time, try it. You know, try just being still. shut everything off.
Well, Sarah, listen to me. Whatever we've been doing for the last few thousand years, if you haven't noticed, it ain't working, girl.
You're right.
It ain't working. If it ain't working, let's see what we can do to fix it. Why do we repeat the same thing? Oh, we build bigger guns, more ammunition, greater things to destroy ourselves. Oh, what is that about? What is that about? What's the value? I say, what's the value? If man conquers the entire universe and we haven't learned to love one another, you know what we'll have? We'll have a galactic war. Oh, boy, I can't wait. I can see space guns that I can kill somebody with 1,000,000 miles away. I just shot them. Oh, right. That's beautiful. I'm really looking forward to that kind of life.
No. Sorry.
So just think about it. Don't think about yourself. Don't think about us. Think about us as a whole. Think about us as a world.
Right.
Whatever we've been doing, folks, has not worked.
Working.
It's not worked. And I love the COVID-19. This is a shot across the bow of humanity to wake up. I'm trying to wake up. Wake up. Those who wake up, those who will transmit higher energy through love and kindness, be careful of what you think, not of what you say. What you say comes out of your mouth. What you think is inside of your cells. These trillion cells that are so much smarter than you. You need to get rid of your head. Like I said, one must lose their mind to come to their senses. Every cell in your body, every atom is so much more brilliant than our stupid minds. We need to learn to listen to it. And it listens to us. Sickness, you want to know why I think a lot of sickness is? Because I've taught my cells to be sick. I live in a world of fear. I live in a world of stress. This stress is a killer in this world. I know people I've had all my life, and they live in such stress and such fear, such stress. And that creates, every time you think, you're talking to every cell that's in your body. And you're creating your reality by talking, by thinking. I think talking is one thing, but just by thinking, what if I thought about love all the time? What if I thought, and I use the word love because we're humans and we associate that with being together and being, I think about love I've written many things about love. This is probably one of the most misused words in the world. I wrote, love has nothing to do with a marriage. Marriage is a written contract between two people. And love doesn't have any expectations. And that's not what a marriage is. Marriage is an expectations. You're going to stay with me, and I'm going to stay with you. And we're going to do this. That's a great thing, no question about it. But doesn't have anything to do with love. It has to do with expectations. And love, this doesn't have any. God doesn't have any expectations of you. He loves you. You're
just the way you are.
Yeah, we are divine, powerful warriors, and I'm asking all of y'all to get away from the world that y'all live in. Understand that you are beautiful, and you are a divine warrior, and you were sent down here to light the world up. Get up. Raise your energy up. Get out. Because when you think of love, compassion, kindness, and you do things, it affects the whole world. It doesn't affect you. It affects the whole world. The more energy we have moving toward the divine energy to bring us up out of this darkness. That's how we're going to get there. And that's how we will go into the new world. And we could talk about that where I see the new world coming later on, not on this podcast, okay?
It's the ripple effect. When you throw a rock out in the water and it expands, that's what people need to understand, that their vibration, that rock that goes into the water, it affects so many more people than just the people around you or even yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I can remember once upon a time somebody telling me that when a car slows down 5 miles in front of you for whatever reasons, and there's a lot of traffic, it literally takes a certain amount of time, and it goes all the way back to miles and miles and miles of cars, just because that one car slowed down to where it affected the speed of everybody else. And it's that same kind of thing. Your action has a reaction to everybody else.
Right. But people have to realize they don't realize the warriors, that the beauty of this divine energy that was given to them. I don't even get it. Okay, I got maybe a little peek of it when I died. I was able to get a little peek. People ask me, "How was it when you died?" I said, "I can't tell you." What do you mean you can't tell me? Because there's no words for it. If I tell you what I saw and what I felt, I would take away from what I had. I can't tell you because there's no word. Okay?
It was just for you.
Mm-hmm. Anything I say to you is a filtered reality.
Right.
You know? Once I create the filtered reality for you, you're almost incapable of seeing the real reality. That's why I've really tried to stop, as I meet people and other people say, "Well, what do you think about this person?" I decline to answer. I say, "Well, I think that's something that you should experience yourself. Why don't I introduce them to you?" Because the minute I tell them something about you, Sarah, they're going to see you in filtered reality. I don't want them to see you like that. I want them to see the beauty. I want them to see beyond Sarah. Wow. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
You know? Well, I guess we're probably running out of time, Sarah. This thing, we could go on forever, but
I think that the conversation has been good. I think some of the things that we talked about are things that people, I pray, hear. That was my prayer before we ever did this today, is that there is a different message that reaches more people, and that that's our desire with the Quiet Place.
Right.
You know, we want to expand the consciousness of people that come along and join us, that really care about what we're doing.
Right.
So, is there anything else you want to say before we close?
We don't expand it. What we do is give them the power to expand it.
Absolutely.
We cannot do nothing. We are just compasses, giving you a direction. Unless you use it and go inside yourself, you'll be left behind on this new world that we're getting ready to come into.
This new train that's coming. The train station's there. We just have to choose whether we get on. Thank you, David.
Thank you for coming and being with me. And if nobody in the world sees this, it's okay. I get more out of just you and me sitting here and you thinking and me thinking and being together. It's a wonderful thing. And our photographer, Carl, don't we love him?
Yes, we do.
We love him because he takes the time. Respect all things. Love all things. Wow. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, David. And thank you to all the listeners of A Quiet Place. And we're hoping that as you listen to this podcast, that the content makes a difference, that you feel what we feel, that you experience your own inner feelings of the things that were said. You might have to listen to it more than once to grasp everything that we talked about today. But we thank you for being here. We thank you for being on this journey with us. And, we hope that you continue following us. If you like it, hit the like button. We hope that you'll subscribe, because we're going to continue doing more and more podcasts with not only the two of us together, but with people that we choose to bring into this space that we believe also has a message.
Light workers.
Absolutely. So our time is up. We thank you for yours.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye.
You're listening to Quite Honest with Sarah Bush and David Drapela. For more content, videos, and information, visit us on the web at aquietplace.net or go to our YouTube channel and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. You can also find David Drapela and Sarah Bush on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And visit Sarah at her website, sarahbush.net.